Të gjithëve. Nëse dikush mendon që nuk jem duke u ndëgju, le të na e shkruan në chat. Përndryshe, përshëndetje, mirëserët në këtë webinar, që tema e webinarit është për solverin Ferrovia. Unë jam Sabri Murati, jam themeluesi i kompanisë NextPlus, dhe këtë webinar e kemi në bashkëpunim me CGS Labs nga Slovenia, që është edhe zhvilluesi i solverit Ferrovia. Në këtë webinar kemi edhe Petra Tihole, është product manager nga CGS Labs, e cila do të na bëj një rezume, një pasqyrë të solverit Ferrovia. Ferrovia në Kosovë nuk është një solver që ndoshta është përdorur aq shumë, po shpresojmë se ka potencial për infrastrukturën cilën kemi dhe mundësitë cilat janë që jetë një prej zgjidhjeve që mund të na hyjë në punë. Para se me fillu shpjegimin për solverin, një prezantim të shkurt për veten tonë, për neve si NextPlus. Ta bëj share screen, okay. Tani besoj se shihet edhe ekrani im, kështu që unë siç ju prezantova më herët jam Sabriu, edhe në këtë webinar do të jemi me Petrën. NextPlus është kompani e themeluar në vitin 2004, në atë kohë me emrin City Computer dhe me një veprimtari të fokusuar në shitjen dhe në servisimin e pajisjeve të teknologjisë informative. Një kohë që ishim edhe të rinj edhe të gatshëm për të bërë shumë çka me shpresën për të pasur edhe sukses. Sot ruajmë entuziazmin cilin e kemi pasur edhe atëherë për të duke u mundu për të lënë gjurmë në të ardhmen që nuk do të shlyhen lehtë. Jemi të themeluar në Prishtinë dhe kështu që kemi vazhdu të jemi në Prishtinë qysh nga atëherë, ndërsa nga viti 2020 jemi edhe në Tiranë. Kompania jonë ka pësu një ndryshim, do të thonë është themeluesi City Computer, ndërsa para 3 viteve është ribrandu dhe quhet NextPlus. NextPlus që ka 3 sub-brande, të themi, është Next Store, Next Solution dhe Next Academy. Next Store merret me shitjen e pajisjeve të teknologjisë informative. Next Solution ofron zgjidhje solverike, si dhe konsulenca apo shërbime në fushën e BIM. Solverët cilë të shesim të përmbanim tani me radhë, edhe Next Academy është si qendër trajnuese që është e licencuar nga Autodesk si Authorized Training Center. Në pjesën e hardverit ne kemi partneritet me HP, Lenovo, Dell, Fortinet e kështu me radhë. Në pjesën e softverit kemi partneritet me Autodesk, jemi partnerët e vetëm në Kosovë dhe në Shqipëri. Kemi partneritet me CGS Labs, me StudioArts, Radimpex, PowerPath, CAD Profi, Microsoft, Adobe, Radimpex, V-Ray, Corona e kështu me radhë. Dhe me çështjen e trajnimeve me Autodeskun dhe Certiportin. Jemi si Autodesk Training Center edhe Certiport Testing Center. Në këtë rast, ne jemi në bashkëpunim në këtë webinar me CGS Labs. CGS Labs është një kompani nga Slovenia, e themeluar në vitin, nëse nuk gaboj, në vitin 1989. Tani CGS Labs është e shitur dhe është pjesë e Transoft Solution, që është një kompani nga Kanada dhe që ka blerë kompaninë CGS Labs gjatë këtij viti. Do të thonë tani CGS Labs është pjesë e Transoft Solution. Transoft Solution një kompani kanadeze që në vete ka disa software të infrastrukturës që janë mjaft të përhapur në botë dhe është një prej kompanive që njihet ndërkombëtarisht. Ndërsa CGS Labs ka disa software të zhvilluar, cilat janë të njohur edhe në tregun tonë. Një prej të më të njohurve është Plateja, që është një software që shërben për projektimin e rrugëve në 2D dhe 3D dhe për projektimin dhe rekonstruksionin e rrugëve që mbështet rrjedhat e punës në BIM. Ferrovia është një zgjidhje gjithashtu në BIM për projektimin e kurudhave në 2D dhe 3D, analizën e rrugës e kurudhore dhe reorganizimin e vijës e kurudhore. Sot do të flasim për Ferrovian, edhe mas gjerimisht do të na flas Petra, e cila do të flas në gjuhën angleze. Kemi Aquaterra. Aquaterra është një software tjetër për projektimin inxhinierik të kanaleve dhe lumenjve, me kalkulime hidraulike të integruara në Micfloat dhe HECRAS. Gjithashtu kanë edhe software AutoPath dhe AutoSign, ku AutoPath është software për simulimin dhe analizën për korsit, rreth rrotullimet, parkingjet dhe kthimin e automjeteve. Ndërsa AutoSign është software për projektimin e shenjave të trafikut dhe shënjezimin e rrugëve. Softwarët e CGS Labs janë software të bazuar në CAD platform, do me thonë që për të punu në këta software duhet kemi AutoCAD ose Civil 3D. Unë nuk do e kisha zgjat më shumë, ja kisha dhënë fjalën Petrës, e cila do na flas për Ferrovian, edhe gjatë fjalimit ne kemi edhe mundësinë e pyetje dhe përgjigjeve, të cilat do të përgjigjemi në fund. Kemi të mundësuar në këtë webinar, kështu që kushdo që ka ndonjë pyetje apo intereson diçka mund të na shkruaj dhe në fund do merrem edhe me këtë pjesën e përgjigjeve. Petra, welcome in Kosovo. In online, but hope you will be in the future in Pristina.
Okay, nice. Me too. Okay.
Yes, this
Should
time
I start?
This time we have this webinar for Ferrovia, and I have a short introduction about NextPlus and CGS Labs, and now it's time for you about Ferrovia.
Okay, thank you, Sabri. Just a second that I share my screen. So thank you, Sabri, again for your nice introduction. So my name is Petra Tihole. I'm the product manager for Ferrovia, our railway design software solution, which I will be presenting today. Just one more thing. So if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to write them in the chat, and I will be happy to answer them at the end of the webinar during our Q&A session. But before I explain, what Ferrovia actually is, I would like to start with the bigger picture. So why do we even need a solution like this in the first place? So railways today face many serious challenges. So designing new lines is very complex, not only because of strict geometry and high safety standards, but also because our cities are becoming more and more urbanized. And very often there is simply not enough space, and every alignment has to be carefully planned to fit into the existing environment. At the same time, more and more projects have to be delivered using the BIM methodology, which means that designers need to develop new skills and adapt to new ways of working. Then another big challenge is reconstructions. Many railways were built decades ago and no longer meet today's requirements for speed, safety, or capacity. So upgrading them means we have to combine all infrastructure with new standards, often in very limited conditions. On top of that, such projects sometimes require very fast solutions, and this is exactly where the software has to support us. It needs to be professional, powerful, but at the same time, simple enough to learn quickly so that all colleagues in the team can use it very efficiently. Then the third big challenge is maintenance. over the time, tracks move and lose their ideal geometry. This directly affects ride comfort, increases costs, and of course creates safety risks. So without the right digital tools, realignment can be slow, expensive, and not always precise. And then finally, interoperability has become absolutely essential. Railway projects always involve many stakeholders: designers, contractors, surveyors, maintenance teams, and they all need to collaborate and exchange data in a reliable way. So BIM, IFC, and clash detections, they are no longer just, okay, nice to have, but they are mandatory. And that's exactly the reason why we need a specialized railway design solution to solve these challenges in a, faster, safer, and also the smarter way. So in today's webinar, we will focus on those main areas I just mentioned, because they are also, the biggest challenges in modern railway engineering. And you will see how Ferrovia supports the design of new railway lines, how it helps with reconstructions projects, and how it provides the right tools for maintenance and realignment. In the software, we will also take a quick look at a typical design workflow, and I will share with you some interesting case studies from our users. Then we will also talk about software packages, trainings, and BIM certification. And throughout this presentation, you will be able to see why Ferrovia is such a strong choice compared to other software solutions on the market. And to make this webinar a little more interesting, I have prepared a short poll for you. It's very short, it's not complicated. The results will be shown just in percentages, but will not be visible who voted for what. This is just that I, get a general idea of which type of projects you work on the most and what challenges you face in practice. So I will just now share this poll. Okay. So I think that you should now see your screen. Okay, you should see a question: which type of railway project do you most frequently work on? Okay, so are these new railway designs, reconstructions, maintenance projects, or something else? Okay, and you can also select more, you can choose more answers. Okay, I will wait few more seconds that you can submit your answers. Okay, right now I can see that mostly of you are working on reconstructions, which is very interesting. Okay, so I will now close it. Okay, and I will share another. Another question is, okay, are you currently using any specialized software for railway design? If yes, okay, which one are you currently working on? So maybe even that I know if you maybe just work with Ferrovia in your previous job or something else, you can also select it, that I know that you have some background, that I will not just talk about typical workflows, okay? So please submit. I will wait a few more seconds for you. Okay. Thank you. And then the last question for you is, which projects are the most complicated for you? Okay, not the project, but which part of the project, because you are having good troubles with software limitations. Okay, so for example, you are using Ferrovia. What is the most what you don't like about it, what's complicated to you for design? Okay, so you can choose between several answers. I will wait a few more seconds so that you can read everything. Okay, thank you. I saw that cross sections are the most complicated for you. Okay, interesting. I now closed everything. Thank you very much for your participation. So these answers give me a good impression of which types of projects you are working on, and also the challenges you face in the practice. And yeah, with this in mind, let me now, introduce Ferrovia itself. So yeah, Ferrovia is a professional, is also a BIM-ready railway design software, and it's developed by us, by CGS Labs. It runs on top of AutoCAD, Civil 3D, and also on BricsCAD, so engineers can work in the environment they already know. And the workflows inside Ferrovia are designed to follow real engineering practice, which makes the software both, powerful at the same time very easy to learn. So if I, for example, compare Ferrovia with Civil 3D or with openBIM Designer by Bentley, you must know that those other software solutions are very complicated to learn, sometimes also to use, especially if you are a beginner. But with Ferrovia, you will see, I will show you one workflow today that it's very easy to use. And also, every time I talk with our clients, they always say me, I love using your software solutions because they are easy to learn. If we got a new employee, we can teach him very, very quickly. So I think that's the biggest advantage of our software solutions. And also when we are developing new features, new tools, we have always this in mind. So we usually, as a team of developers, we join together in a team meeting, and then we discuss, okay, is this dialog box fine? Will people understand where they have to put data and what is the output, or it is complicated, and we can then also do something on it. So we really try hard that our software solutions are very easy to use. And then Ferrovia, of course, can be applied in many different types of projects. So from the design of new railway lines, reconstructions, and realignments to stations, freight terminals, and even road rail intersections. At the same time, there are several groups of users who can benefit from it. So railway designers use it for all types of projects. So conventional, high-speed, light rail, metro, underground, and even industrial tracks. Then maintenance organizations use Ferrovia for track realignment projects and tamping machine guidance. Then surveyors use it for preparing survey data, build digital terrain models, and calculate quantities. And then on the other hand, contractors use it for quantity takeoff, mass haul diagrams, and monthly billing. So we can say that Ferrovia supports the entire project lifecycle, so from the earliest stage of the project through the design and construction all the way to maintenance. But in today's webinar, we will focus on 3 areas. So typical design workflow for new railways, then reconstructions, and tools for maintenance and realignment. So when engineers are designing a new railway line, Ferrovia supports them from the very first steps. In the conceptual phase, different alignment alternatives can be tested quickly using digital terrain models and geometry design tools. Later, the same concept can be developed into a fully detailed BIM model with horizontal and vertical alignment, transition curves, cross-sections, and 3D solids. And this means that one single software can take you from a simple idea on the map all the way to a precise data-rich BIM model that can be shared with other disciplines and used for construction. Okay, so now let me quickly explain you a typical workflow looks like for such a project. This will be, very simple example because I don't have a lot of time today. Just a second, I will just share my screen. So now we will move directly to our software. And Okay, you can see that it currently runs on top of the Civil 3D. And if I click here on the CGS Labs tab, I can see here all our CGS Labs products, okay? And if I select Ferrovia, then 4 or 5 more tabs will open, okay? And you can see that in the first step, you have all the commands for digital terrain modeling and creating the alignment. Then for the profile view, cross sections, and then utility tab where you can find tools for 3D modeling and also for BIM so that you can attach property sets to your 3D models. And this way you can see that it also works like our engineering practices. So we usually start with the terrain, continue with axis, profile, cross sections. And in this mind, you will also always know, okay, where I have to find command related, for example, to digital terrain. Okay, so it's very easy to find the commands you are looking for. So at the beginning, okay, let's start with digital terrain model. We have a lot of options how we can import the data or how we can create a digital terrain model. So we can import different file formats, TXT file, XYZ. Then you can import point clouds, so you can definitely work with point clouds. You can also work with thin surface, okay, with CGS Labs thin surface. So everything will work smoothly in Ferrovia. So if you already have it, or if you are used to CGS Labs thin, Civil 3D thin surfaces, you can totally work with them, or you can also use CGS Labs terrain. So a lot of different options, and we are definitely covering everything so that our users don't have any problems with importing the terrain. For today's example, okay, we will just import terrain from Google Maps. So here you can find under Utility tab Google Maps import commands. And here you can, okay, write down location, for example, Ljubljana, Slovenia, or everywhere on the earth. And then zoom in where you want to have your data. And then on the right, you have different options, okay, how your raster image will look like and which data you want to import. You can also create digital terrain model directly with this command, but this time I will uncheck this option and I will show you how you can create CGS Labs terrain with different tools. So when I click import, I select the coordinate system. Here you also have a lot of different options, and if maybe one is not available, here you can always contact us and we will add this new coordinate system. I click OK. Okay, and it imported me raster image. You can see it also imported me terrain. Okay, this terrain is totally fine if you are doing some conceptual design. So for today, it's great. And now I have to continue with creating digital terrain model. So under the layout, here I have different options. I will run this one, define the name. Okay, it opens me a new dialog box. Then I select the points in the drawing, and I can also select how it will be drawn. Okay, so if I move, okay, you can see this triangulated network, but I can also just hide it. So let's say, okay, I will work with this terrain, but I will just hide it in the drawing, okay? Then the next step is, okay, we can create alignment. But before, we will just define a new axis in the alignment manager. Okay, I can define the axis name, then I have different options for starting station, because in railways we usually don't start with 0, but with a specific number. Then this option, if I check this option, it will automatically drape on the default terrain. Then I have different spiral types. Okay, you can see here that that Ferrovia has a lot of different options. And then I can also check or uncheck this. I will uncheck and I will show you then how to calculate count. Okay, and then on the category, I have other options. So the design speed, gauge, or critical parameters. And I will now draw the alignment. Here also a lot of different options, from drawing with tangent, polygon, floating methods, stick method. So I will use tangent, polygon, zoom in, okay, draw vertices, okay, and my alignment is created. And then I have also different options how I want that my labels will look like. And I also have a lot of options how I can edit. I can just move for example, my alignment. I can then also edit specific radius. So those are, right now they were automatically created, but I have also option to manually change those values. And yeah, a lot of different options. And then I can create sample lines. So I will just draw them along the axis, and then I can calculate count. So here, first you have to calculate it, okay, based on the standard. And then you can open the count editor dialog box, where you can manually change these values, because even here in Slovenia, we have our railway lines are for passengers and for freight transport. So that sometimes we have to calculate our design speed and count also in Excel, and then can we import it. Right now we are working on this tool. So for the next release, it will be much different, because it will have an option that you can change all those values directly in the tables, that you can export in the Excel file, that you can pass those cells directly here. So a lot of also news are coming for the new release of Ferrovia. Okay, so after we have alignment, we calculated our counts, we can then already continue with profile. I will draw the profile view. Here also different options for how this table will look like. It could be totally personalized, localized. Okay, you can change the scale. So I will just insert it, and then I can create the profile view. Okay, draw a profile. Now let's say that it will be in the fill. Okay, at the beginning, and then I just define. Okay, so it's just a simple, really quick example today. You can see that it also warns you, okay, because Ferrovia is also localized for some countries, and right now it's showing me a message that the longitudinal tangent slope is too bigger, so that it warns you that you have to change it, okay? But you can also continue if you want. And then after profile, we can draw a cross-section view. Okay, first I will just insert them in the drawing. And then I will also draw the rail. Here is another dialog box where you can define all those parameters. Okay, real type. You can change. You can select between those types. You can also add yours. Then sleepers. You can select between concrete or wood one. Or also, as I mentioned before, you can totally localize for your country and add your own blocks. Then here at the bottom, you can also define all those parameters, and also the slope. It could be also unconditional, one-way slope or two-way slopes. So different options are available. I will just insert it, so it will draw it right now. I selected that it will draw those elements in all cross sections, but you can also select just specific one, and this is also then important when we are creating typical cross section elements. So you will see that we have here on the top different options how we can draw typical cross-section elements. So right now I inserted the rail, okay, but you can also draw the embankment, substructure, ditch. So those are some typical elements, and then you can also insert block. What is also very good about block, that in last release we added the option that if you have some hatches in the blocks, they are automatically converted in our planimetry quantities, which means that based on them, you can then calculate quantity takes off and also create 3D models. Okay. So if I zoom in now, you can see my cross section. And the next thing is that I can draw other typical cross-section elements. For example, I can draw embankments. Okay. And then I can start with planimetry. Planimetry is very important because this is the basis if you want to then do the quantity takeoff, and also if you want to create those 3D models. So planimetries are basically hatches inside those elements. So for example, I will show you how I can sorry, slipper. Okay. I have different options. So first time for this this slipper, I will use inner part. Okay, so I can just click somewhere on the polyline and inside of the polyline, and it will automatically planimetry all those cross sections. But then I also have different options. I can also planimetry with, for example, between two polylines. Just a second, I will just select the ballast. Okay, click. This way I select all the elements around. Okay, and it will planimetry this area. So we can see very easy to define those cross sections, to also define those hatches, those planimetry quantities. And then we also have one tool, which is very useful, and this is macro. So I will show you on the first 5. Just a second that I find it. Okay, so this is basically like the library of cross sections. So once you create one cross section, you can save it in the library, and then you can use it to another projects. So that's very useful. And you can also send those those macros to your colleagues so that they can also use it in their projects. So that's why it's very useful. And you can see that I created one basic cross sections with those hatches. We are calling them planimetric quantities for each element. Okay, and based on this, we can then create quantity takeoff. So I will insert this in the drawing. I will not save it in the file this time. And also here. So you will see what will happen. Okay, so here I have all the volumes, the quantities for these cross sections, then here for the second one, and here I have table for all the quantities in the drawing. Okay, right now I have only first five. And after I have those planimetric quantities, those hatches, I can also create 3D solid. Okay, this is the way our software solutions works. So in this dialog box, I have to define where the drawing is saved. Right now, everything is in my drawing because you must know that Ferrovia also can work in a way that you are saving your drawings separately. Okay, so in one drawing you have a layout, in one drawing you have a longitudinal profile, and then in the third one you have a cross section. So that's why it also giving you the option that you can select the drawing. Okay, and then here I select the quantities. Okay, those are the names of those hatches, of those planimetric quantities. And then if I want to create a BIM model, okay, unfortunately we don't have enough time today, I can also here select property sets and they will be automatically attached to the 3D model. Okay, that's the reason why designing here is very quickly and very easy. And this align option is also that we usually check it, that for curves, for example, that it will do a very nice model in the curve. Okay, so it will follow the alignment, that it will not be straight, but it will be curved. So that's why we have this align option. Okay, but I will just draw the model, the beginning of the model, and you will see here that the 3D model is created. If I zoom in a little bit more, okay, you can see the rails, the slipper, ballast, and sub-ballast. Okay. So unfortunately, we are very limited, but by the time with the time today. But if you're interested more about BIM modeling, on our website, you can also find this tutorial where we explain how you can create a double track railway. And also here is some noise barrier. And here is the whole process, how you can create those BIM models, and some useful tips and tricks. But yeah, also, as I mentioned previously, if you will be interested more about the workflow for more complicated projects, we are always available, and we are happy to assist you and prepare another presentation. And of course, yeah, as I said, Ferrovia is used for much more complex projects and challenges. As I showed you, with parallel alignments with connected, with turnouts, and also Ferrovia includes tools for automatic turnouts insertion, where you can choose from a very big turnout library, and if needed, you can also add your own custom turnouts to the library. Okay. And so, yeah, with Ferrovia, our users design different complex projects. One example is this railway line section from Novi Sad to Subotica, which is a part of the modernization of the international corridor between Belgrade and Budapest. And the designer said that the biggest advantage of Ferrovia is its flexibility and dynamics, which allows rapid preparation of project documentation. Okay. And they were also very happy with CGS Labs support team, which was fully engaged and provided all the necessary help, okay, for this project. Okay, then the second case study I want to show you today is the new railway line. Okay. Gradec Sveti Ivan Žabno, okay, from Croatia. And fun fact is that this was the first newly built railway line in Croatia in 52 years, okay? The project was designed by the company Granova, which used Ferrovia to prepare the complete project documentation, including the alignment, profiles, cross-sections, and all related design elements for the new railway line. And the line connects to existing railway corridors, and of course, it will significantly improve regional mobility, okay? And in this video, you can see all new railway tracks, also new stations, new smaller stops. And then the third case study I want to present today is the Ilija-Hrasnica tramway line in Sarajevo. This project also shows that Ferrovia is not used only for conventional railways, but also for tramway systems. The line is almost 13 kilometers long and is one of the most important, let's say, public transport projects in Bosnia and Herzegovina in recent decades. The design was prepared by the IPSA Institute, a leading engineering company in the region, and the project included 2 terminal stations, 11 tram stops, 7 switches, and complete reconstruction of road corridor. And one of the main challenges was the very limited space because the line runs through a dense urban area and also crosses protected water zones that supply most of Sarajevo's drinking water. So Ferrovia was used to design the horizontal and vertical alignment model, cross sections, and integrate the stops and stations. And in the end, of course, the tramway will improve urban mobility. It will reduce traffic congestions and support more sustainable development for the Sarajevo region. Okay, so until now we have been talking about the design of new railway lines, but the second very typical use of Ferrovia is for reconstruction projects. So many of our railways were built decades ago and they are, no longer meet today's requirements for speed, safety, or capacity. So upgrading them means that we have to combine the old infrastructure with new standards, often in very limited conditions. So this is exactly where Ferrovia has special tools to make the job easier. One of the most important is definitely regression analysis. With these tools, engineers can take survey data from the existing track and calculate the best fit alignment. This allows them to understand how the current track is positioned, where corrections are needed. And based on this, Ferrovia makes it possible, to design new alignments profile directly on top of this survey data. And then the third very typical use of Ferrovia is for maintenance and realignment. As we all know, over the time tracks move away from their ideal positions. This affects the comfort of passengers, and in the worst cases, it can even reduce safety. That's why regular track maintenance is so important. So in recent years, we established workflows that make the verification of horizontal and vertical geometry much simpler, exactly as it is needed in field maintenance scenarios. The process starts with field measurements, which can be carried out using traditional surveying methods or with a measurement trolley. These measurements are then proceeded inside Ferrovia, and the dedicated models allow an analysis of deviations, and the results can be exported in formats that are, compatible with mechanized track alignment systems such as tamping machines. This means that maintenance teams can very quickly check the track condition, calculate best fit alignments, and prepare precise correction data. The whole process is, digital, which of course saves time, reduces errors, and ensures and much more reliable maintenance of the railway. And since Ferrovia is used in many different types of projects, we also offer different packages to match these needs. It is available in 3 different versions, so standard, professional, and ultimate. And you can find more about those packages on our website. And what is also very interesting is that ultimate, the biggest package, is the most popular. It also offers you all those regression tools, 3D modeling, and also some tools for designing roads. Okay, so some tools from Platea are also available in Ferrovia Ultimate. Then another important advantage is that CGS Labs provides many free training resources. You can find free tutorials, webinars on our YouTube channels and blog, and in the CGS Labs Academy Help Center. We also share reference stories, where you can learn from other engineers how they are using our software solutions. And of course, our support team is always available if you need any direct help. And finally, I would like also to mention BIM training certification. So CGS Lab is an official training provider of Building Smart International. So this is an internationally recognized program where after completing the training, you can take an online exam and obtain a certificate. In some countries, this certificate is already becoming a requirement in tenders. The biggest advantage is that you get all the BIM knowledge in one place, from the basics of what BIM is and how the processes work to detailed openBIM standards developed by Building Smart. So it's a really, really good training, because if I go back when I was a student and I work on my very first, but also the biggest BIM infrastructure project here in Slovenia. So it was a new railway design. It's about 27 kilometers long new railway, which is now under the construction, and almost the whole project is under the tunnels. So I can't imagine how we will do just in 2D without 3D. So it was a very big advantage that we were using BIM methodology for these projects. But on the other hand, it was very complicated for us, because in our company, we were all there were no, we were all new to BIM, and there were no such a structured training, no much time, and that's why I think this certification program is such a great opportunity today. And on top of that, we offer on online platforms, so you can study at your own pace and schedule, and then we organize exam sessions, and you can choose the time that suits you the best. Okay, so yeah, let me just quickly wrap up what we covered today. So we started with the main challenges in modern railway engineering, new line design, reconstruction of old infrastructure, maintenance and realignment, and of course the need for interoperability. Then we look at how Ferrovia helps solve these challenges, and I showed you some typical workflow. You can also have one idea how Ferrovia works, and that you also saw some studies that we basically really use it for all areas. In the end, we also looked at 3 different versions of the software. If you want to find out more, just go on our website. And on our website, you can also find free trainings, free tutorials, and which can help you if you are a beginner. So I hope that this gave you a clear overview. What is Ferrovia, how it can make your work easier, and where it can bring the value to your projects. And of course, if you have any questions after today's webinar, please feel free to reach out to us. We are always happy to help and support you in your projects. So yeah, thank you very much for your attention. Now I would kindly ask Sabri to check, if there were any questions from the audience.
Thank you, Petra. Thank you for your presentation. Shpresoj që keni pas informacione të vlefshme për të ndëgju. E kemi kohën e pyetje dhe përgjigje, nëse ka dikush ndonjë pyetje mund ta shkruaj, keni opsionin e QA. Edhe nëse ju bien ndërmend pyetjet më vonë, prap mund na shkruani tjera ditë, nuk ka problem. Do mundohemi të përgjigjemi në çdo kohë. Nëse keni ndonjë pyetje, urnani, shkruani dhe do mundohemi të përgjigjemi qoftë Petra, qoftë ne. Derisa ne duke mendu për pyetje, duhet ju informoj se softverët e CGS Labs, qoftë plateja, qoftë Ferrovia apo tjerët, janë softver që ofrohen në disa mënyra. Ofrohet mënyra trial për 14 ditë që mund ta përfitoni me një kërkesë dhe të merrni softverin, u lëshojmë softverin për 14 ditë. Është opsioni në studentor që ata cilët janë në studime kanë mundësi për të marrë versionin studentor, edhe për periudhën sa janë student, kërkohet një verifikim që është student dhe ju lëshojmë softverin, apo versionin commercial. Te versioni commercial janë 2 mënyra, është standalone dhe network. Varësisht prej nevojës, mund të instalohet versioni për një pajisje ose versioni për rrjetor që mund të lidhet brenda në zyre për disa pajisje të ndryshme. Kështu që për çdo gjë që keni nevojë për të na pyetur për çmimet e kështu me radhë, mund të na shkruani përmes email apo mund të na kontaktoni përmes telefonit dhe do ju ofrojmë çmimet dhe gjitha që është e nevojshme. Unë sa po e shoh, nuk është duke shënu dikush pyetje, atë nëse nuk keni, mua më mbetet t'ju falenderoj edhe një herë, edhe të ju pres në ndonjë aktivitet tjetër të radhës. Faleminderit shumë. Thank you, Petra. We don't have for now any question. If they have, of course, we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Faleminderit shumë, mirupafshim.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.